Just a young gun with a quick fuse. I was uptight, wanna let loose. I was dreaming of bigger things and wanna leave my old life behind. Not a yes, sir.
Welcome to another edition of Ranger Nation Radio, brought to you by, or presented by, AFC Urgent Care, the right care now. Tim Wood, Bill Bryant, here at Nicholson Stadium, senior night for the lacrosse teams here at Nicholson Stadium. Still got the girls game going on.
Down 7-4.
7-4.
But battling back right now.
Boys game is yet to come. Senior night as well there. So, Bill, our guest tonight, first of all, how are you?
Doing great. Way more relaxed this week than last week when my video wasn't working, no sounds. I was pretty stressed out.
You and me both, brother. Lou Blassie back in the studio somehow made it edible, audible, airable. Lou, how are you this evening?
Very good, very good. And less stressed as Bill is and as you are, yes.
There you go. There you go. So all the video seems to be up. I think we're up everywhere from what I can
We're
I
up
can
on
see.
Facebook. I haven't verified Twitter or YouTube, but we're up on Facebook.
We are up on Facebook. Awesome. So, Bill, a very interesting week in Ranger Nation land. A Hail Mary, a budgetary Hail Mary came out of nowhere seemingly. We reported it with Loop Weekly. Thursday night, the school committee got together, and we're having a special session, and user fees were brought up. The idea of user fees of students having to pay for sports, families having to pay for busing if you're inside the 2-mile radius from schools, kindergarten, preschool, what else? I'm missing parking. Yeah,
a band fee, a play fee, just a lot of fees for participation that we're starving for.
Yeah, you've got participation fees included there in the proposal. This is not set in stone, folks. I just want to make that clear. This was a proposal put out at the request of the mayor. Methuen is in a budget crisis heading into getting together their 2019 fiscal year budget, and they're trying to find ways to close the gap. The mayor has said to the school committee that very unlikely that they will get the full extra $10 million above last year's budget that they asked for, asking them to essentially share in the sacrifices of the budget. So user fees were put on the table. We're talking about $150 per sport per season, with a $600 family cap. You're talking about $100 fees for student parking, which I don't have a problem with, quite honestly. A lot of schools do that, colleges do that, but you're talking about. Yeah, go ahead.
As long as the money is used for services that are related to those charges. So if the parking lot is dilapidated and there's no lights and things like that, use that money to take care of those things. And that's probably my biggest fear with the sports fees.
That's really what it comes down to with all of this. And I did not get a sense. Now, listen, when they discuss this more, that tune may change, okay? But the sense that I got was that this was a short-term fix to a budgetary issue, that those monies would be going straight to a revenue line item in terms of helping the school, the Methuen Public Schools close the gap a little bit in this budget ask. So yeah, I'm with you. If all these monies are going towards the sports that are being paid, it's somewhat more digestible, but it's still, I mean, the outcry was pretty loud, pretty fierce.
But I don't want it to be, I just don't want to pay the fees. There has to be more conversation about it with actual facts. So asking the coaches of the sports that are already coaching for pennies on the dollar, that are putting in hours and hours and hours of work, that don't even come close to their stipend that they get in season. They're also out there selling Ranger cards. They're out there selling Ranger flags and hats and scarves and all these things to buy extra shirts and to upgrade the uniforms, on top of the parents who are, painting the stadium, who are setting up pasta dinners. Tim, every week that we've had a student athlete on, they're talking about these parents that are providing, dinners and pasta dinners and events at their homes and fundraisers. There's only so much that these parents can do, and I get it. Other towns have the same type of parent involvement, but I don't want to be comparing my town or my city with other towns and cities, because if you go on certain websites, right now we're $88 per athlete, and that is just not even close to the other towns in the Merrimack Valley that we're paying. With almost 7,000 students and the amount of money, we're like 33% lower than any of the other towns around us. That's not going to help. That's not going to work. So if we're going to just throw it out there and say we should have user fees and not have a committee, I'm not against them if I know what the money's going to go to, if I know how the system's going to be set up and it's thought out. But just to say we're in a crisis, let's do this, that's the type of thinking that ruins programs that really a lot of people have worked hard to build over the last few years.
It really is. It's alarming. You look at and you track down this, you and a couple other folks, there's all these budget numbers are on a site called ClearGov, right? ClearGov.
Absolutely.
ClearGov.net, .com, or
I think it's .com. I'll try.
Yeah, but it's a site called ClearGov, and that gives you the numbers in terms of who is, where we sit among our peers. And that's the numbers that Bill was speaking of. Methuen is at the bottom of, the Merrimack Valley,
31% lower than similar districts.
31% lower. $88 per student spent on athletics, as compared to, some of these schools are spending $300, $400 per student, and their budgets are up over, $1 million comparatively. Haverhill's up over $1 million. Now, again, it's, you say $1 million, but it's who, how much per student are we paying? And that's where the biggest problem is you're looking at the per student cost, and we're already low to begin with, and then you're asking the parents to sacrifice. This may be, as Joey Tribbiani says, a moo point. I love Friends. That's one of my favorite lines on Friends.
But you don't want it to be a moot point because people just don't want to pay. You want it to be a moot point because facts are being brought into the discussion.
Yes.
Out of the 1,300 athletes, how many of them are 3-sport athletes? Let's do surveys. How many kids are playing a third sport because it's no cost to them? How many kids are the ones putting in all the parent contributions but a part-time job?
Yeah.
This is going to sound
it's insane.
A horrible thing, Tim, but I don't know how many athletes over the last 5 years that I've seen on senior night walk up without a parent. Those are kids that are not going to be able to participate. And I don't want to hear, there's vouchers and things like that, because there's also kids that won't qualify but don't have parent involvement. And who's going to pay for those kids? They're just not going to play. And in the day right now where there's too many kids staying home, there's too much access to drugs and other things, this is the last thing that we want.
It's a very difficult budget time, and I understand that. And so that money is going to come from somewhere, and you know, we feel like the schools are underfunded to begin with. We feel like the athletics are underfunded to begin with, and now instead of potentially talking about getting a little closer to the right balance, the tone that I'm hearing right now is cut.
Right.
And, you know, I don't want to get ahead of myself because Mayor Jajuga hasn't released the numbers or hasn't come to where he wants to propose the school budget be at. So until those numbers are there, I think this user fee discussion is going to be put on the back burner. Initially, when they discussed it last Thursday, the proposal was put out there. There was some thought that they would vote on it at Monday's school committee, but I think that Mayor Jajuga took the temperature of the room and realized that the school committee wasn't going to go for it just right out of the gate, and that, you know, there's going to be more discussion needed. Understanding the full budget number was going to be needed.
Can I ask you guys a question about this?
Yes.
I remember when the turf discussion went on, that the turf was going to be self-paid for by things like rentals of the turf. There were signs, billboards that were going to be set up. It was going to be a self-funded endeavor. It would seem to me once the turf is paid for, some of that could be turned back into athletics, some of that revenue that was supposed to be generated by the turf. How has that gone? Yeah.
There it is, right
you see
there.
his hand, yeah?
Hashtag predictable.
Now, that was, again, I feel like we're getting to a point where maybe it's not productive to start throwing people under the bus here, but that proposal in terms of the highway signs paying for the turf, that was made by former mayor Steve Zani. You know, this budget mess that we're in that's causing all these discussions is due to a contract that was largely negotiated by Steve Zani without people involved in the discussions that should have been, including the city auditor. So
let me ask you this, Tim. This is where
it's the elephant in the room, Steve.
No,
it's the elephant in the room. Nobody wants to say it.
And this is where I'm not going to say it either, I think. But why is talking about facts insulting or disrespectful or throwing someone else under the bus? The former mayor put out monies to consultants to buy signs and advertising. There is none.
There's no sign. I mean, not
one.
The idea of signs and
there's not one. I travel around to games for my daughter, my son, for various reasons, and there's signs everywhere.
And I remember
we were told as an organization, MEIC, we couldn't do it.
I remember this discussion during that period about them being blue and white signs and all this crap, and it's like, just sell signs, fund the programs.
Yes, so
what is the problem?
So it has to look right, yeah.
Yeah, what's the problem? Great,
I'd love it to look right, but let's start with some signs. You know, like everywhere I go in terms of selling for Loop Weekly, I know there's so many of those folks. Just about every sponsor of this show would want a sign in the stadium.
We got so bogged down in, well, if we sold this sign here, it would have to be $10,000. But what if the clubhouse got bought for a sign? That would have to be $50,000. So end result, not one sign was sold. Not one thing was sponsored.
The reason that city officials don't want to talk about it is because City Hall protects City Hall, and that's where it's at in terms of us not wanting to focus on the past. I mean, listen, I want to focus on the present. I want our officials to solve these issues, and there's going to be a lot of discussions and a lot of compromises and a lot of negotiations that go into solving this. But I'm also I'm not going to let this whole how this happened be swept under the rug either.
Because you don't want to go back there. That's why.
No, you have to learn from history. Yeah,
absolutely. And there's two sets of people that really have a hard time defending themselves. Our elderly, who have gone through all of this work and need the community to support them, and our youth, who are the up-and-coming people that need us to guide them and show them the appropriate way and how to support your community. And it seems like those are the two groups we penalize the most and raise taxes and cut services.
That when people talk about, and listen, you can feel it in the city. People are die hard with their sports, whether it's in their own circles like track, like wrestling, hockey, or just town-wide. This town is crazy about sports. Sports keeps kids off the streets, out of trouble. And I hate to say it that way, but listen, there's a lot of parents. I mean, you're looking at two of them. I mean, two parents working. I mean, it's going on, and the numbers are. I mean, the numbers get crazy as you get into high school in terms of the number of kids that are not going to have anything to do. They don't have a community center to go to. It's not going to, and that's where the sports, it teaches so many life lessons.
But I want to sharpen up what you're saying. I don't think it's as much sports crazy as it is student athlete crazy.
Yes.
I think the respect for the student athlete and that kid like a Seth Paré who is getting great grades, who's in the community, he's refereeing, he's doing all these things, and oh, by the way, he's a three-sport athlete. I think that's what Methuen is so impressed with. It's not just the kid who's running up and down the field, scoring 25 points, but struggling in the classroom and not really being a good citizen. I think it's the opposite. I think for Methuen, the sports craze is we have so many athletes that are great students, that are great citizens, that give so much back to the city. That's what I think this city is all about.
We could go on this topic for the entire show. We're gonna put it to rest for the moment. Let's see how this plays out. There's gonna be budget numbers presented. If it gets to the point of even that the city council wants to put it, I mean the school committee wants to put it to a vote, there'll be some parent informational nights. But I mean, just taking the temperature of the room at that committee, I don't see it getting passed unless they gotta, they're being told like
they need a number.
Yeah.
They need a number to work with to make decisions, and it's a twofold process. The school committee has to put it forward, vote for it, yes, and then it goes in front of the city council. So the first point is, once we find out whether it's going to be put forward and voted, parents have to get out. And the student athletes have to get to the meeting and talk about their own issues and concerns. I ask my son all the time as a sophomore, what's being talked about in the school, and it's various things. He came home the other day. It was the first time that he said, Dad, it's all over school. That's all everyone's talking about is having to pay fees. And how many kids that are working jobs as well as being student athletes that flat out said, I don't know if I can afford this. I don't know if my parents can afford this or my parents can afford this. That's what needs to be talked about.
And I can say the committee is not really for this right now, but again, you really won't know until they get their number. Then they're really going to be forced to make some decisions. So listen, we will let you know where this is at. Trust me when I tell you, we will be all over this. And we will let you know when the meetings are, when the potential votes could come. We'll stay all over. But for now, we're going to take a break here on Ranger Nation Radio, presented by AMC. What did I say, AMC?
Yeah, he did.
AFC Urgent Care. I'm looking forward to seeing Deadpool.
Like I said a couple weeks ago,
on my mind.
Connor had strep throat in there, was there for 15 minutes, got his medication, and didn't miss a beat. So
we love him.
Big part of the community, big part of student athletes that kind of get run down a little bit from all the working out and all that. So AFC Urgent Care has been huge.
We'll get off our soapboxes. We'll take a break. We'll come back. We've got two great guests tonight. First up, Luana Machado, and then we will have
Coach Tom
Rangers football coach Tom Ryan here on Ranger Nation Radio.
When we move, well, you already know. So just imagine.
All right,
big shout out to the folks over at AFC Urgent Care. They've been big supporters of us since the beginning as the title sponsor of Ranger Nation Radio, and we are big fans of theirs. AFC Urgent Care, the right care right now. You'll never need an appointment. Got that persistent cough and cold, that cut that needs a few stitches, or need a sports physical and don't want to wait weeks to get into your primary doctor? AFC's streamlined approach helps you be seen quickly and feel better fast. In Methuen, in the Merrimack Street Medical Professionals Building, 380R Merrimack Street. In North Andover as well, in the Burton Grill Plaza. 8 to 8, Monday to Friday. 8 to 5, Saturday and Sunday. Go to afcurgentcare.com for more details. All right, up next, yes, our friends, the law offices of Arthur Broadhurst. You need an experienced litigator? Arthur Broadhurst has more than 27 years of practicing law and will fight for you. He's licensed in Massachusetts and New Hampshire and specializes in criminal and accident cases, mortgage loan closings, and town zoning and permitting for land use and licensing. Arthur's represented us in the State House as a former state representative. Now let him represent you. Call the law offices of Arthur J. Broadhurst at 978-327-5128 or go online to merrimackvalleylaw.com. All right, let's talk about our man Frank Calisi. The spring market is heating up, and Frank Calisi is the realtor to go to whether you're buying or selling this spring. Frank has proudly served Methuen and the surrounding communities for over 45 years, and he is ready to serve you today. He's a member of the RE/MAX Hall of Fame, and for good reason. Buying or selling, he gets results for you. Frank is the Seacoast specialist and is licensed in both Massachusetts and New Hampshire. Call him today at 978-500-5310 or email him at frankcalizzi, that's COLIZZI, at Comcast.net. That's Frank Calisi Realty.
Open up the champagne, pop.
Back here on Ranger Nation Radio, presented by AFC Urgent Care. I want to tell you about a couple more of our sponsors here. Let's talk about JG's Ice Cream and Fun Center. They are celebrating 35 years with a big bang. Buy one, get one free on batting cages, bumper cars, mini golfs, and go-karts, and get a fun pass for just $21. That includes one of each of those, the batting cages, the bumper cars, the mini golf, the go-karts, plus an ice cream or a slushie. JG's is #1 for family fun, birthday parties, and group outings. Check out the May 8th Loop Weekly for all these coupons we just talked about, and then visit them at 602 Lowell Street in Methuen, and visit their ice cream stand at 327 South Broadway in Salem as well. Also want to tell you about Methuen Family Health Center. So family's everything. That's why it's right in the name at Methuen Family Pharmacy, where you can get pharmacy services by the Methuen community for the Methuen community. You don't have to be a patient of Methuen Family Health Center to use the pharmacy either. Drop by 147 Pelham Street in Methuen, right off exit 47 on Route 93, and get your medication from the friendly faces you already see in your neighborhood. Learn more at glfhc.org/pharmacy. So,
Lou, he is just rocking those, isn't he?
He is.
He's come so far since week 1. No spots. Seamless and just perfect.
So we mentioned these two sponsors because we've got Stars of the Week presented by Methuen Family Health Center and JG's. JG's gives out JG's is providing gift cards to all of our guests on the show this season. Previous show guests are wondering where those gift cards are. I promise you, I'm going to be talking to Rich this week. I will have the gift cards in hand. You will have them in hand. I promise you. So, let's talk Stars of the Week.
This is the first one. Do you want to have Luana announce who the first Star of the Week is?
Oh, yeah. So what does that say right there?
I can't quite read it. I think this is Luana Machado.
It does. Luana Machado, 400 hurdles, won the 400 hurdles and we'll talk more about that win at the Andover Boosters event this past weekend. And just got presented with the Tribune Scholar Athlete of the Month at the school committee on Monday. So, a fine example of our scholar athletes here at Methuen High School. Onyera Chabagwu, Big week. He just keeps winning for the boys tennis team that's now 11-1 and is qualified for the state tourney. Onyera won 0-0 against Tingsboro. Another win against Tewksbury. They just keep rolling, this boys tennis team. Connor Madden, 2 hits, 2 runs for the baseball team versus Notre Dame, and 3 RBIs versus Tewksbury. Stanley Hansey won the 400 at the Andover Boosters, and he's second in the area leaders in the 400, which covers the whole Tribune coverage area. So that's quite the feat. And then our final star of the week, the entire softball team, the entire Rangers softball team, led by head coach Jason Smith. Once again, their 18th straight postseason appearance, Bill. Unbelievable.
Unreal, and just definitely a team effort. This is a team that should have been down this year. Didn't have to hit. You just saw an article in the Tribune with a freshman that's come in, that's playing a different position. Just a total team effort.
So there are your stars of the week.
And I'm going to give a little shout out to a kid that's kind of close to me, Christian Ovalis, sophomore. He's been a varsity player for the last couple of years. Definitely pushing himself to get more time. Is he new to track, or he had a 400 event that he did under a minute.
No, I think
he's new. Just came out late and got himself in there, and pretty proud of Christian. Definitely a kid who works his tail off and has some next couple of years are going to be big for him.
So as you can see on the screen here, we've got our first guest of the evening, senior Luana Machado. How are you?
I am great. How are you?
Fantastic. Thank you so much for joining us on the show. Congratulations on just an amazing Bethune High School career in the classroom, on the track. Just outstanding. Tell us just a little bit, and by the way, we should say Luana is headed to Tufts University. Now, what are you looking to study there?
So I was originally planning on studying biology. I'm trying to follow a pre-med track. But this year I actually fell in love with psychology, and so I might switch boats on that one. But either way, I know I want to follow the pre-med track and hopefully go to medical school in the near future. So
amazing. Now, you plan to keep running track?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Tell us, how did this love of track start for you?
Well, it actually started my freshman year. I moved to Methuen my freshman year, and I didn't have any friends because I didn't know anybody. And so I thought, well, the quickest way to meet people was joining a sport. And so the best way to get in a sport is to join a non-cut sport. And so I decided to start running, and that's how I met my best friend. And you meet amazing people with amazing coaches, and so you just start building this friendship. And then when you have such an environment with those friends, it's just the love for the sport just grows on its own.
Was it something outside of the camaraderie? Did you just realize the minute you started and you found those events that you liked that this was going to be your passion?
Yeah, my first time, when I first joined, I tried hurdles my freshman year, and I didn't like it. I was afraid of jumping over them, actually. But then sophomore year came, and all of a sudden it was like a switch was flipped. And then as soon as I tried them again, it was like the funnest thing that I could have imagined doing. I mean, just running in circles might get boring, so why not add a couple, barriers in the way to get over? And so, and then ever since then, hurdles has been the funnest race for me the entire season.
Now, Coach Connor Clark was walking by, and he yelled up to me and wanted to remind you that you're a long-distance runner. Is that something that would surprise you that he would say that?
No, he likes to tell me I'm not a sprinter in his eyes. But I'm not a distance runner. No. My distance days are over, I hope.
How are you going to go to college and do the course load and adjust to the college life and maintain the routines and the things you need to do to stay competitive?
So this idea of college and track at first scared me a bit, just because I am going to be taking rigorous courses and following a pretty difficult track and going into my plans for graduate school. And so I was a little bit on edge about running, but I visited Tufts. I met with the team and the girls on the team, and there are tons of them on pre-med track, and they all told me that track itself has helped them with time management, which makes sense. It's helped me now, and they told me that the support that they built on the team also they carried on to their studies, and that's something that I'm gonna try out my first year, and I'm sure I have no doubts that it's gonna work out perfectly.
You have a very quiet but very noticeable confidence about yourself, the way you carry yourself, in the way that you speak, in the way that you are in athletics. Was that always there, or has that developed over these 4 years?
It has definitely not always been there. I'd say that the little confidence I have developed last season. That in the last indoor season, for some reason, just stepping up and having to be a senior captain, kind of taking on that role, it changed the way I see things and the way I present myself. Because I mean, we don't have a lot of upperclassmen. A lot of our track team is made up of younger athletes, and so having someone to look up to, I think it's very important to maintain the success of the team and to keep the athletes on the team so they don't quit. And so I've always tried to present myself in a way to make it seem like this is like the right thing, the way to do, this is fun. And so the best way that I can present myself of being confident and try to, but it has definitely not always been there.
Who are some of the folks that have kind of helped guide you over the last few years? Coaches, other players, anyone you want to kind of give a shout out to or talk about how they influenced you?
Well, for starters, our track coaches, Brittany Caprio, definitely, she's been a rock to me this year. Not only with track, but also with schooling. I stress out a lot about things, and she has always been there behind me, telling me that I can do this and I'll get through it. And also Coach Shannon, Colleen Shannon, who moved to Peru last year and left us, but will be coming back. She also helped push me in the hurdle direction, always kept telling me to be a little more confident every time I stepped on the track. And I mean, Elliot also has been an amazing help. He's the one who's like, oh, you can always count on him to be honest with you when you're running, even if you're doing bad, which is, you need to hear, you need that honesty. And then Connor just likes to tell me that I'm not a sprinter. I guess that kind of helps too. Yeah.
One of the things that has always blown my mind with track and hurdles, you have to be in a rhythm.
Yeah.
What happens when you get out of that? I mean, it's such a precise thing to, like, I just have it in my head, like, okay, jump, okay, run, okay, jump. Like, I can't do two things at once most of the time anyway. I mean, like, how do you coordinate that?
Actually, I've been trying to figure that out myself this season. When you lose that rhythm, you will stutter and you might fall. And that has happened. But luckily, I've been trying to find a way where I can have the perfect amount of space in between each step so that I don't stutter. So I have to kind of think about the way I'm running. And when that does happen, I mean, if you stutter, you lose your speed, you lose your form, you go over the hurdle awkwardly, and then you land awkwardly, when it messes up your next run. And so, I mean, that has happened multiple times this season. Luckily, at the Andover Boosters, it was a little better, and so, which is why I was able to, squeeze in that first place. But it's still something that I've been working on. It's definitely something that I'm aiming to improve in at NBC's this weekend.
You didn't really, well, okay, so you're going to every event wanting to win it.
Yeah.
But on paper, you weren't expected to win that event.
No, it wasn't.
Tell us how that event was different for you. Like, was it just a zone moment for you?
I think that at that meet, it was already later than we were supposed to be out, and at that point, I was telling myself, it's all form. All I was worried about was my form. It was nothing else. I didn't worry about who was next to me, who I was racing, even if they were like the fastest person on the earth. All I was focusing on was me, my race, and my form, and the 10 hurdles I had to jump over. And then that helped me get in the zone and be able to focus exactly on what I was doing to better myself.
Yeah, I mean, that's just, I guess when people talk about track, it's you just get out there and run.
Yeah.
And a lot of what I've learned because I ran track back in the day, not hurdles. There's so much coaching that goes into it. There's so much practice and preparation, and it just, obviously a credit to the coaches, but also your time and your effort. What's kind of your last goal for this spring? What's something that you're really hoping to accomplish and leave your last mark?
I mean, this spring, when it comes to track itself, I just want to, obviously, I would love to keep, improving my times in the events that I do, whether it's the hurdles, the 4x4, or even the 4x8 that we've been doing this season. That's definitely something that I want to do and leave behind that little trace of me in the school record. I mean, that would be amazing. But of course, when it comes to my individual event, my goal is to just keep bettering myself in my form. But then again, the biggest impact that I want to leave is on the younger athletes, them knowing that if they keep working hard, they can achieve what they think is possible.
Now, where do you stand in your class?
I think right now I'm 5th in my class. Yeah.
So this whole academics thing with the track team, this doesn't seem to be a coincidence. I mean, it seems like academics and the discipline that goes into track are a good fit. Is that fair to say?
I think that'd be a fair statement to say. I mean, the track team is made up of brilliant people. Not
Sam Cook,
Sarah Fragioni, my
Fragioni,
number one in her class, and she's amazing. I just have to give her a shout out. Sorry. And
that's what we're here for.
And I mean, I don't know if there is something there, but it's like
track just draws out the brightest people, and that's it.
So with that being said, you've given a couple of people shout outs. Each week that we have a student athlete on, I love hearing the advice. I love hearing just a tidbit of information that one of the younger viewers really is going to, snag onto and maybe kind of, adjust a little bit more, work a little bit harder based on, what your thoughts are. Can you give some of our younger track folks some advice?
Well, my advice for the young people is something that they always take for granted, which would be the warm-up and the cool down, because everybody thinks like, oh, this is just track, let me show up and run. Well, if you don't warm up and stretch properly, you will end up pulling a muscle, you will end up hurting yourself, and that's with any sport. But track, people think it's easy just because it's just running in their eyes. But the stretching comes a long way. The workout itself, hitting your times as the coaches ask you, that's big. And I mean, you may think, oh, it's not going to matter if I slack off on this one. It will make a difference because another athlete on another team isn't slacking off, and yet you are. And I mean, it's all about following directions on the team.
Speaking of shout outs, I mean, who do you want to say thank you to or thanks for the support, or just in terms of you getting to this point in your career and your life?
Well, definitely, like I already gave her a shout out, Brittany Caprio, my coach. She just puts up with me in the mornings complaining about, I mean, I can't tell you the numerous times I went to her class telling her I would never get into college. And she just reassured me every time. I drove her crazy, I know I did, but she put up with it.
You said you'd never get into college?
I did say that.
Wow. From that to Tufts.
I was panicking.
I know that stress, though. I know that feeling.
God, she just put up with me. And then Sarah Fragioni, and she also, even though she's just a junior, she thinks ahead, and she also was always giving me the best advice when it came to college or track. She's also an amazing athlete herself. And then our assistant coach, Casey DePina, she was an athlete here last year, but now she assists. She has just been always the most positive soul I've met, and her positivity just shines through the track.
So are you going to try to recruit Sarah to Tufts?
Yes, I've been trying.
Breaking the news.
No hesitation.
Yeah, I've been trying. I mean, she has countless options. I mean, as long as she's in the Boston area, I won't mind. I mean, we do have the best schools here. I don't actually want to go anywhere else, but I'm not biased for anything.
I like it. She's not even there yet. She's already all about Tufts. It's great. Huge congratulations to everything you've accomplished. Just an unbelievable example of the best that Methuen High School has to offer, that the city has to offer. So congratulations to you. Best of luck the rest of the way, and we will be watching you not too far down the road at Tufts.
So rattled last week, I didn't get any selfies So
we gotta get the selfie. While we do that, let's take a quick break. We will have Tom Ryan next here on Ranger Nation Radio, brought to you by AFC Urgent Care.
I used to bite my tongue and hold my breath, scared to rock the boat and make a mess. So I said quietly, agreed politely.
More show in a minute, but let's talk about Independent Tire and Auto. Mary and her crew will take care of all your automotive needs. She's been in the business for over 35 years, the past 18 running her own shop. And they're not just tires. They do wheel alignments, tune-ups, brakes, suspensions, shocks and struts, air conditioning maintenance, and so much more. 20 Old Clark Road in North Andover, just off of 495 next to the Lawrence Airport. They're there 8 to 5, Monday to Friday. Mary believes it's her privilege to serve you, to earn and keep your trust. Not too many mechanics you can say that about these days. Check out Independent Tire online at independenttirema.com or call 978-689-3900. That's Independent Tire and Auto, great supporters of Ranger Nation. Okay, next up, yes, Superior Cleaners and Tailors. We've all been there. You spilled coffee on the nice dress shirt, had to go back to work looking like an idiot. Well, you gotta get to Superior Cleaners and Tailors. They've been voted the best dry cleaners in the Merrimack Valley for the past 2 decades, and for good reason. Russ Vaquera, his son Justin, and the entire Superior crew take great care with your garments, whether it's storage, dry cleaning, alterations, wedding gowns, comforters, quilts, or draperies. Superior will treat your garments with the best care. Visit them in Methuen at 234B Pleasant Street, where they're open 7 to 6 Monday to Friday and 8 to 4 Saturday. Also in Lawrence at 37 Essex Street. Or go to superior-cleaners.com for more details. I love talking about my man Val Davila. It's a dream to own your own business, and Val and Susan Davila made that a reality in February 2013. They started with just 2 insurance carriers, but now Right in Place Insurance for Progressive, Safeco, Pilgrim, Plymouth Rock, and Mapfre, just to name a few. Need auto insurance, renters, commercial, or home? Davila and DeFusco prides itself in having lifelong roots in the Merrimack Valley. Put their experience to work for you. Visit them at 225 Broadway or call 978-241-7950 for a free quote, or visit them online at daviladefusco.com.
Back here, final segment here on tonight's Ranger Nation Radio, presented by AFC Urgent Care, the right care right now. Tim Wood, Bill Bryant, soon to be talking to the greatest guest ever on Ranger Nation Radio. Want to give one more shout out to the folks at Canaan and Percone. Whether it's a leaky faucet or a 10-story building, Canaan and Percone Plumbing and Heating have you covered. Billy Canaan, Tom Percone, and their crew can handle any job. With summer coming, get your AC tuned up. They can handle kitchen and bathroom remodeling, water heaters and boilers, sprinkler systems, and more. Canaan and Percone is the name to trust in the Merrimack Valley. Call them at 978-685-0880 or go online to CanaanPerconePlumbingandHeating.com. Huge thank you to Canaan and Percone.
Quick score update for the live boys lacrosse team against Tewksbury. Village to Hadley, goal 1, and then Village just ran about 55 yards uncontested and scored goal 2. So Methuen's up 2-0 on the Tewksbury team.
And you want to mention some scholarships as well, yes?
Yes. Methuen Youth Lacrosse is going to be giving out 2 scholarships this year. The first one is for senior number 9, Kyle Hadley, will be getting a $500 scholarship from Methuen Youth Lacrosse. And Hannah McKenna on the girls varsity lacrosse team will also be getting a $500 scholarship. So we're very excited to announce that and looking forward to watching their college careers.
When we were talking about this last week, it looked like it might work out where we could have them up here during the show, but he's down on
Thunder and Lightning last night took care of that.
Yes.
Down on the field and scored the first goal of the game tonight, which is pretty cool.
There you go. All right. Coach Tom Ryan joins us now. How are you, sir?
Yes, I'm good. How are you doing?
Good to see you. Good to see you. So how are things?
Things are awesome. You talking about my football team?
Life
is good.
Do you have a life now that you're in the football off season, so to speak?
I am Joe Pro soccer dad, and my 3 daughters play multiple soccer teams, and I spend a lot of my time doing that. I spend a lot of time in the weight room, the big program we call it. It's kind of been it's been one of the best things. I always joke to other people if they find me 5 years in this job, they better keep that part of what I've done here. The weight room has been awesome. So we build it every year.
Now, I don't want to seem like I'm trolling you too much on Facebook, but I did notice that your brother threw you some shade for no birthday shout out. Do you want to say
no
anything?
That is the deal with my brothers. They like to text people. They don't call anybody. So I always say, hey, it's not that hard just to pick up the phone and call. My oldest brother Matt does call people, and I call people, but some of my other brothers don't. I have 3 older brothers, so just kind of brotherly shade, as you put it.
Absolutely. All right, so off-season football, where folks might think, and we joke about it, like, do you have a life on the off-season? But I mean, you're already into it for next season.
Yeah, we start the Monday after Thanksgiving. We do 3 days of lifting. We kind of build it. We grab every kid that's not playing winter sports, at least we hope. And we run through the workout. I get my workouts. I've developed that for many, many years. My buddy's Dan Nichols, the head strength coach at the University of Minnesota football. Followed him with me. He was at UMaine, and then he was at Western Michigan. We went out to Western Michigan a couple of years ago. It was to watch what he was doing. That's when PJ Fleck, he's a kind of a famous college coach right now.
Oh, yeah.
He's so we got a backstage pass to Western Michigan, and then they went on to the Cotton Bowl that year. So his career has really taken off. So I get a lot of my stuff from him. Hopefully, my wife's watching, trying to squander another trip next year out to the University of Minnesota, probably in March over their spring ball game. Bring the staff out there like we do.
He of the row the boat, right?
He's the row the boat. I have some row the boat shirts, and
yeah.
He's like that. I'm telling you, I talked to him. He stopped, gave us a backstage pass. We were walking out of the building. He was leaving, and he stopped his car, came out, and said, hey, noticed who we were, and said, hey, you're Danny Nichols' buddy. Never big timed us. I wrote him a little letter afterwards thanking him. He wrote me back, and it seems kind of fake. He's not. That's the way he's like. He's like, he has all those sayings and things like that. So,
quick question for you, Coach. A couple of things that having a son as a sophomore and watching you over the past few years, you have a 8th grader freshman camp that you do. And what about if you're an 8th grader this year and you're planning on playing football? How do you get involved in the weightlifting and all that you're doing, for the current high school students?
So right now we have on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays, 2 to 4, the weight room's open. We have a bunch of 8th graders coming down already. They come from Timony, Tenney, got a couple kids come from the CGS. So that's open for them. And then our NBC transition camp, which we started with Brian Aylward in Tewksbury 4 or 5 years ago, that's kind of really taken off. And now that's in July 16th through the 19th here at Nicholson Stadium from 4:30 to 8 p.m. That's Monday through Thursday. And that's a top of the line camp, helmets and shoulder pads. And the kids get the helmets and shoulder pads from me, the kids from Methuen. And then the Salem High football coach, he helps us. The Drake High football coach helps us. And some other high school coaches help us. And then we bring back some college kids that are playing some big time college football. It's a pretty awesome experience for kids. It really is. I know you've seen it.
No, I have.
You probably give a better testimony than me. I'm obviously a little bit biased. But.
Well, I think for an incoming freshman or an 8th grader, it's a phenomenal kid because you hit on every position. You're doing linemen, you're doing receivers, running backs, and it just gives you that, okay, I'm getting into football mode, but I'm going to meet a bunch of other kids. You're going to compete against some kids from other towns. So it's a really nice balance, but it also gives that introduction because I think a lot of kids don't play sports because of the fear of, I don't know anybody, and I don't want to jump in the weight room because I'm not going to lift very much. It's all about giving them the technique so they don't get hurt, so they train correctly, and they grow and develop. So it's definitely some exciting things.
What at this point, what can you say to Ranger Nation looking forward to this fall?
Well, this year, I mean, since I've been here, I've been trying to build a foundation that's solid, to the weight room, to outreach we've been doing, Pop Luana, the community service we do, to the school, to all the different things. And I think we've done a great job that way. We have tons of relationships, and but every year is different. And so I like to say that the foundation's there now after 5 years, and it's been there for a few years now. But every year it's like we're building a new house. And every year the wood's got to be picked up, the nails got to be hammered in, and that's the work we have to put in the off season. The house doesn't build itself. So we're in that phase right now. We're building. We're in the weight room. There's nothing that builds a team more than, putting 315 on your back and squatting. And that's what we do right now. And I believe in that so much. We had, 40, 50 kids in the weight room today. We have that all the time. We have a lot of kids playing other sports, which is awesome. I encourage that highly, multiple sport athletes. A beautiful thing. So that's kind of what we're doing. And I'm excited about the season. We graduated almost 30 seniors, but we have a lot of kids coming back. We have a huge team, and things are good.
Would it be fair to say, with the number of seniors you just talked about, that you have a huge incoming senior class and it's real hungry, that wanted a lot more playing time last year, but just couldn't crack the lineup because of your seniors, that you've got some hungry juniors this year that really are looking forward to this upcoming season?
Yeah, I would say that. I mean, I hope so. It's up to them, though. We have our big meeting on next week to kick off all our summer things that we do, but it's on them. I tell the seniors every year, I bring them aside, I say, listen, guys, senior leadership is huge. You don't have to be a leader, a name we call our captains leaders. You don't have to be called that to be a leader. Leadership has a lot of different forms, so we need every kid to be a leader, and those kids got to show up. I mean, a lot of kids in that class are playing multiple sports and doing great things. We need a few more of them to step up because we need them. We're going to lean on some of those kids this year. It's their time. We had some great players last year in the senior class, but their time's over. They're like us. They're now has-beens. And you become a has-been pretty quickly. I just sent out I do an alumni flyer for all the kids that graduated, and I always start with that. Hello, all you has-beens. That's what we all. Yeah, once you graduate, it is what it is. That's what you all are. So, and I'm included.
Do you? I'm just curious. One of my favorite moments, just off the field moments, was at the girls hockey final on the jumbotron. One Coach Ryan up there on the jumbotron. With the big head, they do those big head close-ups. Now, do you fear that a number of your football players may have that on their phones and maybe playing that in the locker room to start the season?
Yeah, I mean, that was almost instantaneously put on Twitter by a number of people.
I don't know who that was.
I don't know who that was. So it might have been on Twitter by a couple of guys. But the ironic thing is, my second brother, Matt, his head is actually that big. Like my head I have the size of the head. I tell you, my dad growing up as a kid, he couldn't even wear one of those Little League hats. There was a one button. He'd look at you, like he put the hat on.
He'd have like a painter's cap, right?
He put the snapback hat on. He put it on his head, and the thing would snap off. Like you could hear it go. So I actually kind of I look like a little kid next to those two guys, my dad and my
you can kind of feel for him after seeing yourself like that.
Yeah,
right?
I tell you, it's they had a big bet at my wedding. All my buddies who had met my brother, like, I bet Tom doesn't have the biggest head in there. They all put like tens on the table. My brother Matt walked in. My uncle took all the money.
Nice. All right, so I don't want to put you too much on the spot. We only got a couple minutes left, but have you heard anything just in the wake of this user-free discussion from parents of your team?
Yeah, I don't think anybody wants those things. I think there's, I think there's been, like you said, I heard kids have come up to me in the school and asked me about it. We have, Coach, we're going to have user fees. I said, well, it's a long process here. And I'd gone through some of the process like this when I was at Tewksbury, and I'm sure, knowing the people I know that are up there, nobody really wants that. So I think that every avenue is going to be searched and scratched through. And I'm assuming that will be a last option. But, we'll see what happens. I haven't heard too much more than what you guys have heard. But I know kids have asked me, and I know I don't want it. But I don't think anybody wants it. It's not something we, the higher ups, I'm sure, grabbed onto and saying that's what they really want to do. So I get faith in them to do the best they possibly can, and I know they have the best interests of the kids at heart. And so we'll see what happens.
I'd like to say I'm disappointed that it even came up, but I kind of feel like in this budget discussion, this was inevitable. Like every stone's got to be unturned. I just was kind of hoping some other stones would be turned over before this came up.
And also thoughtful stones, and not just how can we make money or charge other people.
Well, I guess you're right, but you never know what happens behind budget meetings and things. That's above my pay grade, but I do know that, and I went through this when I coached a long time at Tewksbury High, and we went through some budget problems. And when you do the budget out, and you look at athletics, and you talk about user fees, and you look how much they would raise, talk about the bang for your buck. Athletic high school in Methuen and other high schools across Massachusetts, for how much budget is in that for the athletics, how much benefit you get for that short amount of money, for that short amount, what are they, $50 million budget, and you get, athletic budget so much, it's very minuscule. How much the kids really benefit from that $600,000 is incredible, and I do know that. That's about my knowledge on budgets, is that the best bang for your buck is high school athletics.
We're gonna have to end the conversation here as we're running up against time, Coach. But I really appreciate you coming, and hope this is the first of many stops here at Ranger Nation Radio.
Yeah, we will. Whenever you want. I don't know if my daughter Emma's watching. Emma, how you doing?
Shout out.
Shout out to Emma. That's the only one I want to shout out to. And maybe my wife if she's watching too. But the younger two, I imagine, are in bed right now. But crash.
Huge thank you to everybody watching tonight, everybody that came up, to Luana Machado, Tom Ryan for being our guest tonight, and huge thanks to you. You can catch the show on demand on YouTube, on Facebook throughout the week. Please keep watching. Let us know what you want to see, and we will see you right back here next week on Ranger Nation Radio.
Good night, everybody.
And when you move your body, you move it nice and sweet and sexy. Alright, woman, you're cute. I know you know me. Original joke,